Well, I think Federal Reserve, it's very likely to keep policy unchanged this time round, given that in many ways, I think the situation of the economic recovery is, of course, something very important. And they want to ensure that the economy is on a solid and strong footing. So they'll be very careful in terms of the nuances and in terms of even in terms of their rate policy. And of course, there is the issue of tapering. I think they will have to communicate this in a very well telegraphed manner, and I think it's going to be done over several months before the decision would ever come out. So I think from the FOMC, it's very likely that this time round the rate policy would remain unchanged. Even the $120 billion of asset purchases, I think that would continue. But of course, the communication of when they would taper, I think that's a big question that investors will be watching out for.
Oh, yes, indeed. I was speaking with Neeraj Seth of BlackRock earlier, and he said that investors would actually be surprised by the lack of surprise there would be in the market's reaction to a tapering decision. And even if there is a wobble in the markets, that would be experienced before the announcement rather than post the announcement. If there is that wobble, of course, he would be taking that as a buying opportunity. What is your own sense on how the markets would really take to this decision, whether or not there would be a protracted reaction before or after the event?
Well, I think you can take reference from back in 2013 and 14, in which the Federal Reserve announced their tapering decision. Back then, there was a knee-jerk reaction in the market, but I think this time round, the Federal Reserve would want to avoid that. So I think the communication would have to be done in a very calibrated manner, and they will have to prepare the market for it. I suspect it won't be something sudden. It would be something that the markets would expect it slowly as the economic data improves. I think by and large, if ever they were to announce a tapering, it would be sometime towards the end of this year. And of course, if they were to follow the pace of tapering back in 2014, it would take almost a year before you get any normalization in terms of asset purchases. So we're talking about a 2023 kind of situation in which even the prospect of raising rates would be probably back into 2023. So I think it's going to be something that it's going to be very well calibrated. It's going to be very measured. And I think more importantly, I think the markets would expect that sort of decision by the Federal Reserve.